Imagine a stranger walks up to you. They wrap both arms around your body. They pin your arms to your sides. They press their chest against yours. In almost any other context, that's an attack, a grappling move. The opening seconds of a fight you didn't agree to, but you'd probably let them do it. You might even lean in. If they smiled first, if they said your name, if the context felt right, you'd let a near stranger immobilize your arms and close every inch of distance between your body and theirs. We call this a hug. And your brain has almost no idea what to do with it, because here's the problem. For most of human history, everything about that motion, the closing distance, the pinned arms, the chest contact, was the exact blueprint for danger. Your nervous system was never rebuilt from scratch to handle hugging. It's still running ancient software. Software designed to protect you from exactly this scenario. So why doesn't it go off? Why doesn't every hug trigger the same alarm that a stranger grabbing you on the street would? That's what we're going to figure out. Let's start with the alarm itself. Deep in your brain sits a structure called the amygdala. Its entire job is threat detection, and one of the things it monitors constantly without you noticing is the space around your body. Researchers call this personal space proxemics, a term coined by anthropologist Edward Hall in the 1960s. Hall mapped out 4 zones radiating out from your body: public, social, personal, and intimate. That innermost zone, intimate distance, starts at physical contact and extends out to about 18 inches. For most of human history, almost nobody entered that zone without a very good reason, and your amygdala treats it that way. Studies using brain imaging have shown the amygdala activating more strongly the closer someone gets to you. There's a documented case of a woman with complete damage to both amygdalae. She had no personal space instinct left at all. She'd stand nose to nose with total strangers and feel nothing. For everyone else, that same closeness produces a measurable stress response. Elevated heart rate, rising cortisol, the body quietly preparing for confrontation or retreat. This isn't a human invention either. Zoologist Heini Hediger studied this same mechanism across the animal kingdom back in the 1950s. He called it the flight zone, an invisible bubble every animal carries around itself. Let a predator cross into that bubble and the animal doesn't think. It moves. The flight zone is old, older than humans, older than primates. So a hug isn't just close, it's inside the zone that, for millions of years of evolution, meant something was about to happen to you. Now add the second half of the motion, the arms. When someone hugs you, your arms get pinned. You can't raise them to block a strike. You can't push someone away with any real force. For an ancient human, having your arms restrained by another person wasn't affectionate. It was the single most dangerous position your body could be in. No defense, no escape, total exposure. Combine those two things, inside the flight zone, arms disabled, and you've basically built the opening move of a predator attack, which raises an obvious question. If your ancestors' bodies were wired to treat this exact scenario as mortal danger, how did we end up doing it on purpose? To people we like? Here's the part almost nobody talks about. Hugging didn't survive because it stopped being dangerous. It survived because it became a demonstration, a costly, deliberate demonstration that you were choosing not to be dangerous, while being in the one position where you easily could be. Think about what a hug actually proves. You've closed the distance. You've disabled your own arms. You've exposed your throat, your ribs, every vulnerable part of your body to someone standing close enough to do real damage. And you did it voluntarily. Anyone can say, "I trust you." A hug is your nervous system putting that claim on the line, in a position it was built to defend against. This is likely the same underlying logic behind the handshake. Historians have traced the handshake back to ancient Greece, where extending an open, weapon-free palm to a stranger was a way of proving you weren't holding a blade. The hug is that same idea, scaled up, not just an empty hand, an entire undefended body, and your ancestors weren't the only primates running this test. Chimpanzees do something strikingly similar. After a fight within the group, researchers, most notably primatologist Frans de Waal, have documented chimps embracing afterward. Full-body contact, arms wrapped around each other, in the exact posture we'd call a hug. It's not sentimental, it's functional, it's reconciliation. A way of saying, physically, in a language older than words, that the conflict is over and the trust is being rebuilt. So the embrace isn't a human quirk sitting on top of our biology. It's a primate reconciliation signal that we inherited, kept, and turned into something we do dozens of times a week without a second thought. But there's still the matter of why it feels good. Why your body doesn't just tolerate a hug, it seeks one out. That comes down to a hormone called oxytocin. Researchers at Carnegie Mellon found that warm physical contact, sustained for even a short period, can measurably lower blood pressure and blunt your cardiovascular stress response. One of the study's lead researchers explained that touch appears to deactivate the threat detection circuitry in the brain, the same fight-or-flight machinery your amygdala was running seconds earlier. Oxytocin doesn't erase the threat response. It overrides it, deliberately, temporarily, on purpose. This override had to be built for a reason, and the reason might go back further than trust, further than reconciliation, all the way to infancy. In the 1950s, psychologist Harlow ran a series of experiments on infant monkeys that changed how scientists understood attachment. He gave baby monkeys a choice between two artificial mothers, one made of bare wire that dispensed milk, and one covered in soft cloth that dispensed nothing. Every time, the infants chose the cloth mother. They'd cling to it for security, only briefly leaving to feed from the wire one before rushing straight back. Contact wasn't a bonus feature layered on top of survival. For an infant primate, physical touch was survival. Harlow's monkeys, deprived of contact entirely, developed lasting psychological damage regardless of how well-fed they were. That wiring didn't disappear when we grew up, it just found a new name. And the calibration on all of this is still culturally specific, even now. A large cross-cultural study spanning more than 40 countries found wildly different comfort zones for personal space between strangers. People in Argentina were comfortable standing roughly 30 inches apart. People in Romania wanted closer to 55. Different environments, different histories of danger, different thresholds for how much closeness a nervous system was willing to tolerate before the alarm went off. The hardware is universal, the settings are not. So the next time someone hugs you, here's what's actually happening underneath it. Your amygdala registers a body entering the one zone it was built to defend. It clocks your arms going still, your ribs exposed, every escape route closed. For one fraction of a second, ancient software runs its ancient chuck, and then oxytocin floods in and shuts the alarm off. On purpose, because the body in front of you chose to be defenseless around you, and your nervous system, built by a few 100,000 years of predators, strangers, and real danger, decided that meant something. That stranger from the beginning, the one with both arms wrapped around you, pressing their chest against yours. Your ancestors would have called that an ambush. You call it a hug. And somehow, that's the nicest thing anyone's brain ever agreed to unlearn.